Well, what a race that was yesterday in Bahrain. Now we're going to talk about it, and now I'm going to bring in my guest, F1 Adam. Hello,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well.
So we may as well start with a race review, and then we'll get into certain topics. So
Yeah.
Adam, what did you think to the race?
Yeah, it was all right to begin with. We did see that the battle between Leclerc and Verstappen. That was a very interesting battle. Of course, we had it wasn't much at the front, but it was more towards the back end of the field where the midfield were with the Alfa Romeos, the Hasses and the Alfa Tauris were. And then it gradually got into a very interesting race after we had a retirement for Pierre Gasly with that engine failure.
Mm. And then that made the whole laps after the safety car, interesting.
Yeah, we did. We'll probably get into what happened in a moment.
Mm. Yeah, I agree with you. The first lap was surprisingly clean. Uh,
Mm. I definitely thought we would have some sort of uh, massive incident because, of course, the new cars there's not enough downforce compared to the previous years. We did have Mick Schumacher spinning on the first lap from
oh,
Esteban Ocon,
that
but
was
it
a
was apart from that, it was relatively clean, which is I think surprised everyone.
that was a perfectly executed pirouette. That was from Mick
That was
Schumacher.
it
But
was
yeah, obviously first lap was clean, and then you had Lewis using the polished tyres,
yeah.
trying to get past Sainz, and then they pit him early. Perret, he comes out, and I don't think he was used to the new tyres,
No.
with like the
Yeah.
blankets and that.
Yeah, of course. The tire blanket rules being changed for this year were quite. I don't think a lot of people knew about that, but it was very interesting because, of course, I think Crofty was even saying that they want to go to no tire blankets, which is a bit strange. But yeah, of course, Hamilton pitting early. That wasn't like him, but I think they just wanted to try a strategic gamble. Of course, they've been through 6 days of testing, probably a lot of running on the hard tires, and then of course they didn't realize how much grip, and then Hamilton of course just went wide.
Mm, yeah, and then gets passed by Guan Yu Zhou. But we'll get into Guan Yu Zhou later when we go into
Yeah,
topics. Uh,
yeah,
if you want the full race results, they're on the ticker down below. Uh, number P17, Nico Hulkenberg. You won't see him on. Well, we're praying that you won't see him on next week's podcast because he was a stand-in for Sebastian Vettel this week. But onto the race, that battle between Leclerc and Verstappen, Adam. Obviously, I'm pretty sure you've heard that Leclerc said that he was braking it after the first time. He broke early into turn one to get DRS down at turn four.
yeah. I do think that was a very smart play from Charles. He knew that Max was getting frustrated every time he was just sit after he just was staying in second place, because of course Max does not like second place very much. So yeah, of course he made the smart move, switching back and then getting the best traction off turn one, getting that DRS down up to the run to turn four.
Yeah, for the Ferrari traction off the first couple of corners was very good.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, obviously, Bahrain isn't the best track to show whether the new regulations work. The first sign is going to be Imola.
You think so? Because yeah, that's quite a twisty track. There are a lot of corners, a few straights there. Maybe even the first sector at Saudi Arabia could prove to be quite a test for these new regulations and how like the airflow works around it.
Yes, yeah. Uh,
Of course, especially with like the first 5 laps, they're going to be following so closely, and I do think that's going to be quite a standout point when it comes to qualifying the race.
mm,
But I think we should get onto Saudi Arabia quite near to the end.
yes, predictions. We'll probably do predictions for that at the end. Uh, but after that Leclerc Verstappen battle, race went a bit dead, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought it was all um I thought it was all a bit calm, and I remember Valtteri Bottas trying to get past Yuki Tsunoda for quite a few laps, not managing to achieve it. I think that it's a good sign for both teams. Of course, they were up at the front. Tsunoda finishing quite well there in P8. It was Valtteri Bottas in P6 by the end.
Mm, yeah. And then obviously got the safety car because of Gasly's retirement, which I think it's an electrical problem, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was probably electrical problem because, of course, the dash went all black, and I did think it was an engine problem, but I think it seemed to be electrical with the dash going all black, and of course that he pulled to the side, and the safety car had to come out.
Which,
I do think that's quite needed for the race, especially because it bunched everyone up, and we'd love to see like everyone really close.
and then they let all the ramp cars through, and then the next lap we start racing again.
Hmm.
And I think Verstappen kind of regret he did what he did in Abu Dhabi last year and went side by side with Leclerc, like, and into that final corner. I think he just got a bit pinched, and then when Leclerc put down the throttle to go, it made him suffer down the long straight, which meant Sainz had a chance to get him.
Yeah, I think Verstappen especially was just killing his tires, battling with Charles. I feel like he could have played it a bit more simpler because, of course, he was just going into turn one all the time, thinking the move's done, and then seeing Charles come back at him. Maybe he could have taken the inside line, or maybe taken the inside line, um, or maybe waited for the run to turn four. So maybe just Max didn't play his cards right, and especially with the problems he got later on, that really hampered him during the race.
Mm, yeah, and then Carlos eventually gets past him. Verstappen had steering issues and engine. I think this team says it's fuel pump issue for both cars.
It was a fuel pump issue for both cars, and I think that's an interesting point, especially when it comes to the engine, because of course the engine has to be really reliable. There's 23 races this year, with about 2 to 3 parts for each component.
Well, obviously we've got 22 at the moment, but I heard the news today that F1 are monitoring Jeddah because I think there's like missile strikes or something going on there.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know about that. I thought you were going to mention that that Qatar was going to be in place for Russia, but
We'll,
I didn't hear.
we'll
Didn't
get
hear
on to
about
that. We'll get on to who will place Russia at the end. But and then Verstappen comes to a stop, crawling into the pit lane with about 2 laps to go, and then it's revealed that Perez is losing power, and then I think the engine just it turned
I
one
think
in the last lap.
I think the engine they're just locked completely. Um, so yeah, he went to turn one and the engine is completely locked. Um, which wasn't great. They actually left with no points when they should have been leaving with what is it, 13?
And obviously we'll get on to Ferrari versus Red Bull later on, but how crucial could that be for that battle?
Especially if they lose by a very slim margin to Red Bull, then they would probably look back to this race as being one of the title deciders.
I'm just getting down some topics to discuss. Red Bull engine issues, but Lewis Hamilton, we got to mention him getting P5, no P3, and George also getting P4 in that incredibly slow Mercedes.
Yeah. I think if the best they could have got. I know Lewis has been saying that, but they're they they're clearly the third best car on the grid, which does disappoint me, especially for someone who wants Hamilton to get his eighth title. Um, yeah, that Mercedes just doesn't look that strong anymore with that power unit. I think not looking as great. I do think Ferrari had the best one, but more focused on Mercedes. They did get quite lucky with the Red Bulls, both losing their engines, and it's a brilliant result for both Lewis and George. But they were pretty much nowhere most of that race, where normally they'd be fighting up at the front.
Yeah, it was virtually a lonely race for both of them. After the start and when Perez got past them, it was virtually a lonely race for the uh, team based in Brackley. Obviously, we got to talk about it. Alfa Romeo, P6 for Bottas. Okay, wait.
and
P.
P6 for Bottas and P10 for Guan Yu Zhou.
That brings us on to the first topic. We're going to talk about Alfa Romeo first. So Alfa Romeo P6 for Bottas and P10. So it looks like a team that looks really strong this year.
They've definitely been on the rise. Like, I didn't think they'd do well at all. But they do look strong. They do look good with that Ferrari power unit. Um, and I do think they will be able to challenge maybe even Bottas and grab a podium if there's an insane race like we had at Hungary last year.
Yes, you used the Hungary last year, and is a very good analogy from you, Adam, because obviously we all know that F1 can bring up some surprise races, especially if Ferrari and Red Bull, all four of them collide and take each other out, or it could leave us with maybe even Mercedes if they get involved later on in the year. If a full three of those teams take each other out, then it could leave us with an unlikely winner. But yeah, Alfa Romeo looking very good, and that Ferrari power unit is looking very good this season. Now another Ferrari team, K-Mag, off Haas, best of the rest after Ferrari and Red Bull and Merc had them.
Yeah, I think Haas are definitely on the rise, and I think it's a very good thing, especially the way they've been suffering since the rich energy the rich energy controversy. Then they had 2020, which wasn't great at all. They decided saving their money in 2021, and they've been at the back of the grid for all that year. And now to see them in 5th and 11th in the first race of the season, I don't think it could have been any better for them.
And I mean, oh god, I just seen a TikTok. I think it's you ever seen, just going off topic for a minute. You ever seen the in betweeners where they go, who's playing? It's the Grand Prix. No one's playing, but it's a great something's funeral, and he says, "I never miss the Grand Prix."
Yes.
But yeah, K-Mag obviously left for Sport in 2020, got dropped for the rookie lineup in 2021, which Mazepin obviously deserved to be dropped. with his links to Putin and that, but we won't go into that because that is somewhere where we don't want to dip into at the moment. But K-Mag obviously replaced Mazepin and had 2 days in the car in pre-season testing, and then practice, and then into qualifying the race and got P5 out of it. And
Yeah,
you
go on.
go.
Okay, fine. I do think it's a great signing for Haas. They did have a lot of options in Hulkenberg and Piastri, but they did go with Magnussen. I do think it's the right choice because of course, he is experienced with the team. Yes, he's been in a year out, but he's just showed he is come back and absolutely smashed it. And with the Haas that looked quite under not in control. During the practice sessions, I do think Magnussen's come in with that experience and raise the team's level. I do think Mick will definitely improve because of Magnussen with all that experience being passed on. So a great combination, especially when it comes to the second half of the season. For definite, be on the lookout for them.
Yeah, you like you said there, Mick will definitely improve because of Magnussen, and I reckon Mick will be in and around the points some races. Now we got to go on to McLaren. Obviously, it pains me to see them down in 14th and 15th because I really want to see McLaren do well, and I really thought this year could have been a good year for McLaren. I thought they were going to be fighting for with Ferrari, McLaren, with Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, but obviously at the moment are languishing down in the back marker pack.
Yeah, it's really disappointing because a lot of people predicting that McLaren are going to be maybe the second or third best team on the grid. I would have loved to have seen an eight car battle for 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 the championship. How good would that be? But again, I do think it's the power unit. Both Williams and McLaren getting second best engines, I would say. Um, I do think Mercedes can improve that engine, but of course we got the budget and the cap. How do I say this? Cap cost
Cost
cap.
cap.
There
Yeah.
we go. To deal with. So I think they would probably need to spend quite a bit on that engine and power unit to try and push them up the grid, and especially not just make Mercedes the main Mercedes go up to the front, but also get joined by McLaren and Williams because of course these were meant to be the years where they step up. These were meant to be where Williams and McLaren are in the strong midfield, but instead they're down in 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, which is not where they would want to start their season.
Okay, and now we move on to this. What's your take on this?
It's never good having an engine issue in the first race of the season. You never want that. That just gives you a reliability scare. Of course, Christian Horner was wanting to extend his success, and he realizing the car was quick, he could very easily got that second title for Max Verstappen a bit easier. But this is going to take a little. It's going to worry them a little bit, of course, because of course you never like to see 3 or 4 engines being blown up in the first race. So I do think they will fix it in Jeddah, but it's something to keep in mind for when we get into quite a few races into this half of the season.
Yep. Like you said, you've hit the nail on the head there. You don't want to have reliability issues in the first race because it puts them on the back foot now in the constructors' battle, which we'll get into in a bit. But we never want to have reliability issues in the first race, and it's a bit worrying seeing 3 engines go up. Well, Pierre's did, but obviously Verstappen and Perez's didn't, but didn't go up into flames, but it's still engine issues. Yes, it put them on Red Bull on the back foot going into Jeddah, and 43 points behind Ferrari, which links us into this topic, the constructors' battle. Now, if Mercedes can maybe get their act together and do damage limitation as best as they can, this could turn into a three-way championship battle, but I reckon that'll be next year. But Ferrari versus Red Bull, 43 points. Wait, let me just change. I'm just going to add the brackets. 43 brackets, bracket 0. So there we go, there's the points gap right now. So 43 points already to Ferrari, 0 to Red Bull. How do you think this will affect Red Bull, Adam?
They will definitely want to come back and Cheddar. Of course, we saw, especially with the battle between Charles and Max, that straight line speed on that Red Bull is very dangerous. I think that especially with a track like Jeddah, Red Bull are in a chance to bounce back, and I think they're going to want that. They're going to need that. Maybe even get a 1-2. That'll be very important for the Milton Keynes base team. They will, yeah, they will want to bounce back there, and I can see that.
Yeah, it's not very good for them in the first.
I do think Ferrari will just be focusing on opening that gap because they've seen that Red Bull already are their closest rivals. If I was Mattia Binotto, I would be focusing on that progress of that Red Bull, and trying to get both of my drivers to help each other in that battle. Yes, it's early doors, but yeah, you got to focus on that championship.
Yeah, obviously, 43 to 0. It's going to take a race where Ferrari both cars don't finish for Red Bull and Red Bull get like a 1-2 to close that gap.
They'll pretty much be equal by then.
Maybe that could happen in Jeddah. You don't know, anything could happen there in F1. Now we're going to move on to what track will replace Russia on the F1 calendar.
Of course, if you didn't know, Qatar was apparently the biggest circuit that can. How do I word this? That it's most likely to take over. Of course, they got the money. It was taken out to avoid the clash with the World Cup. So why not have it on the circuit earlier? I think it'd be nice to see the Losail circuit back again. Of course, they've got that 10-year deal in place from 2023 onwards. We still don't know if it's going to be at Losail or a street circuit. I hope Losail, and especially we might get a taster for it in 2022. Do you agree with this?
I mean, I don't think it will go to Qatar with the World Cup being there, because I think Qatar's main focus will be on the World Cup, and I wouldn't mind if it went to somewhere like Nürburgring or Hockenheim in Germany, or a track like Malaysia, or maybe even Fuji or something.
Yeah, Fuji sounds actually somewhere I would like to see it return to, but I reckon it would go. But of course, we've already got a Japanese Grand Prix, but 2 Japanese Grand Prix, not too bad. But I do think if there's another option, it'll be the international Istanbul Park in Turkey.
Yep, and obviously not far from my Asia and that, but you got to think that's Russia's the week before Singapore, so you go to somewhere like the Middle East, it's not going to be best environmentally, and obviously F1 have been all about environmental. Well, at least some of the F1 teams have been like environmentally being environmentally friendly. So flying from Qatar to Singapore would not be the best thing to do for the environment. So I think they'll go somewhere close to it. But yeah, I would love to see Germany on the calendar. But it's where the F1 bosses take it. But obviously, there could be another spot that opens up if these rumours about Jeddah not being on the calendar because of these missile things on is happening right now in Jeddah. So if that happened, where would you take it? So obviously you've gone Qatar for your first choice, and then what would you go for your second choice?
Could we got Malaysia? We got I just revealed where I was going to go. But yeah, as I was saying, we got Australia, the third round of the championship. Why not go to Sepang? Of course, there's been little tweets from the Sepang International Circuit, hinting maybe F1 returning there. But I think at this point, a lot of like circuit will want to like hint at it. They'll be happy to like hint at it, even if it's not true.
Okay, wait, I've just seen this. Mercedes are expected to bring a significant upgrade to Imola to help extract performance. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's very much needed. Of course, they're lagging behind. Probably going to finish fifth and sixth for the next couple of races, unless Ferrari or Red Bull have a retirement. And they're gonna need it for Imola, especially if they got the right setup there. They can actually take a race win, hopefully, and maybe see them back into the championship battle.
So we've got 2 races to wait for that. Oh god, we've got Australia coming up. Well, that's like 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, that's gonna be horrible.
But that's going to be on a new track. Well, completely new circuit, technically, with the
Yeah,
changes.
I call it a
Okay.
shaved. I call it a shaved circuit.
Okay, what tracks are we excited to see? That I'm just going to give you excited to see on the calendar. That's really the next section after this section. Are Ferrari back? Now, before we get into this, I'm just going to read an article from WTF1. It's been a long time coming to see another Ferrari victory, but the wait is now over as Charles Leclerc helped bring home first place in Bahrain with his teammate Carlos Sainz coming second. The Ferrari hype train is well and truly here. After excitement with both Red Bulls having to retire with issues, during the race's final moments, Charles thought he'd play a little joke on his team. I did a bit of joke on the radio in the last lap, saying there was something strange with the engine, he confessed in post-race press conference. Obviously, we've heard that there's something strange with the engine in Bahrain in 2019, where he was leading that race and finished P3 in the end. I think Lewis Hamilton won that race. Talking to Lewis Hamilton, that yesterday ended a 3-year winning streak at Bahrain. The main Bahrain GP for Lewis Hamilton, because he won it in 2021, 2020 and 2019.
Yeah. So I do think Ferrari have the best package. Of course, Red Bull will want to challenge that, but Ferrari are definitely back in the running. They've got the ability to win a first world title since 2007. It's just whenever they have the ability to stay on top and take that. I also want to ask you: do you think Max versus Charles is going to get as heated as Max versus Lewis?
I can see the incident between the two. I feel like it there will be an incident between the two, and I can't wait till there's an incident so we can use nothing. You know the Charles gift, nothing. Just what happened between you and Max, nothing. Just an incident.
Yeah.
Because obviously I think there was an incident between them in the karting days. So I've got a feeling the two will collide at some point. I just
Oh
don't
yeah.
know what race.
I imagine it's Monaco. Imagine like the first time they
Oh,
crash is Monaco.
I tell you what, that would be pain for Charles. As I don't
I
think
would.
is he ever finished a
No, he has.
Monaco GP.
He's never finished Monaco.
Oof. Okay, just going back onto this article, which gave a heart attack to some of the engineers, I'm sure, but everything was fine. So happy this time we brought it home. The practical joke comes a few years after Leclerc's maiden win was snatched away from him cruelly right here in Bahrain, and Charles Leclerc, yeah, he deserved to win yesterday. Got a good start. Uh, Obviously fended off Max and ended up taking the win in the end, which was a well-deserved win. Carlos Sainz, before the safety car, Perez was getting close, so it would have been intrigued to see how that would have been, how it would have ended if, because obviously I think didn't both, because before the safety car, Verstappen and Verstappen and who was it? Verstappen, Perez, and Sainz pitted, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then the safety car comes out, and that's when Perez, or no, Leclerc pits. But for obviously Ferrari's best, in my opinion, Ferrari's best. This is Ferrari's best chance to win the constructors and win the drivers with uh, one of their two drivers. Obviously, we've seen Carlos Charles' relationship has been really good so far. So, Adam, I want to ask you a question. If they were battling for the championship, how would you see that relationship going between the two teammates?
I think it's gonna be very. I don't want to say intense. Like they're still gonna like each other, but I think once they see each other in the garage, they're just not gonna speak. I think to each other because it's gonna be like I'm trying to think back to how Hamilton and Rosberg would have approached it. Of course, they were in the same team for 2014 to 2013 to 2016. So of course, I do think it'll be similar to it'll be like they won't talk to each other much. They'll talk to each other less, but they'll still be like friends away from the paddock and away from the track.
Personally, I know Max is like 25 points behind, but I think the real championship battles between Charles and Max. And I think
Yeah.
obviously we've seen it before where 21-point gap, 4 races that can be cut down to level on points. Or three, wouldn't it? It'd be three. Because that's what happened last year, wasn't it? With Lewis, 21 points going to Brazil, and then he wins that. Then he wins in Qatar, and then he wins in Jeddah, and then they obviously go level on points for the last race, which we all know what happened there. We won't touch on that.
No.
But now on to another topic. What tracks are you excited to see on this year's calendar? Whether they've been absolutely shocking in recent years, and you're intrigued to see whether they'll produce and release new regulations. So go ahead
Um,
with the tracks you're interested to see on this calendar.
I'm not. I'm intrigued to see what Miami's going to be like. 'Cause of course, there's one part of the course where it's got like a really tight chicane. I don't know how they're going to negotiate it. I feel like Baku's going to throw up a bit of surprise. I'm looking at the schedule on the F1 calendar. I hope we get a better race in Belgium compared to last year.
I mean, that was a bit of sarcasm there.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how the Dutch Grand Prix is going to go, of course, because how the dirty air is going to be affected there. Of course, in 2021, we had Max versus Lewis there. Lewis couldn't get past Max at all.
Mm.
Um, but with this time, I do think if second place is faster than first place, they've actually just got a chance. But again, very limited overtaking spots. So we'll see how that goes. I'm definitely excited to see Singapore and Japan back in the circuits, back on the calendar. Yeah, because it just haven't been there since 2019, and excited to see what excitement Brazil can throw up.
I mean, Brazil always produces every year. I mean, Brazil is one of those tracks that I always look forward to on the F1 calendar because I just know it's going to produce. The tracks I'm excited to see are Spain. Obviously, I want to know how these new regulations have affected Miami because we're going around a stadium which I'm really intrigued to see how that is, and we've got a ridiculously long straight from that narrow part you were on about to the end of it, like virtually final section. France, I'm excited to see because again, same with Spain. Hungary, last year obviously produced a really good race, same as France and Spain. The Netherlands, obviously, as you touched on, because I wonder how dirty air would have, like, if it would be the same as last year. Obviously, Singapore and Japan being off for a couple of years. I want to see how they race under new regulations because Japanese Grand Prix, the only real overtaking opportunities into the chicane and at turn one. Yeah. Now let's go on to Jeddah predictions plus preview. Now, you alluded to Red Bull being quick down in the straight line. Ferrari losing a high wing, a bigger wing than Red Bull uh, this race. And obviously Jeddah, you got those three long straights back to back, but the first sector requires a lot of downforce. So how do you see teams setting up for Jeddah?
They're gonna want to go for all like the grip. Of course, it's pretty much like almost a straight line with a few corners here and there. I think they're probably going to run like very low wing, so you're going to see a lot of sparking, especially if someone's got DRS down one of the straights. We're going to see a whole load of sparks there. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see if Max is going to control his temper this time. Because of course he was all over the shop last time out, and I'm hoping that he's going to learn his lesson. So, but I do think if he, with that Red Bull straight line speed, I do think he could possibly be under the chance to win that race. He just needs to calm himself down and not be silly with his overtakes on the inside. That's it. I do think if he is on the attack and it goes all wrong, he might be into the side of Leclerc or Sainz or someone.
I mean, yeah, because sometimes Max, like, I think sometimes he doesn't think about things. I think he's like, Brazil last year, obviously Portugal this off, and they could have both ended up. If there was gravel on the outside out of corner, he never would have done that move. But because there wasn't gravel on the end of that corner, he uh, he obviously didn't go. He did the move, and Jeddah, you make one mistake like Max did in quali, and you're in the wall, so you might get punished for that. But what are your top three for Jeddah, starting third to first?
I'm going to say, I think Leclerc's going to be third. I think Verstappen is going to come second. I think Carlos Sainz is going to win.
I'm going to go for third Sainz, second Leclerc, and first Bottas. No, Verstappen.
That would be interesting. Bottas won.
I know it would be, but obviously Jeddah is coming up on Sunday, so we'll be reviewing. That after next Monday at the same time. So be sure to run us there, hit subscribe button, make sure you like the video, share it around. We'll have a couple of clips coming out. I'll make the clips playlist, like a podcast playlist. Make sure you go check out Adam's TikTok. I'll link it down below. And enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, Adam, for coming on.
Thank you very much, mate. Pleasure.
Yeah, I think we will have. Obviously, we've got a break between Saudi Arabia and Australia. I think that week I'm planning on doing livery, like a livery ranking. So,
Yeah.
that week, that was what we're going to do for that break week. And I think of some ideas for break weeks. There might be some weeks where there's no podcast. There might be some weeks where we talk about F2, F3 or something like that, or
Maybe
different.
do a season so far. That might be interesting.
Yeah, especially into like summer break. But enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for coming on, Adam, and I'll see you in my next stream.